Last Winter's Snowman, a snowy story from the Gaspé Coast. Chapter 1, 'Tis the Season. It had been a rough winter that year on the Gaspé Coast. The first snow fell during the night of October 23rd, and it left 16 inches on the ground. People woke the next morning surprised to see everything covered under a thick blanket of heavy white stuff. Shovels were fetched from the back of sheds, and mothers hurried to find mittens for the anxious little hands that wanted to go out and play in the fresh white powder. Schools and businesses were closed, as well as everything else on the coast, because the roads were all snowed in. The snowplow drivers had not been ready for a winter storm that early, and they tried frantically to get their equipment out on the roads. Everyone had been enjoying the beautiful fall weather, with the leaves changing colors and the warm sunny days of an Indian summer. So they were really unprepared for a snowstorm. Typically, winter started in late November with a few light snowfalls, leaving everyone marveling at the fresh fallen snow. It gave them time to slowly prepare for the difficult winter season ahead, and they were usually ready by the beginning of December. But on the morning of October 24th, every town on the coast was completely shut down. People were in a panic trying to find their winter coats and boots so that they could deal with the early arrival of winter. The one good thing about the heavy snowfall was that almost every child was eager to build a snowman. Scarves and hats were snuck out of the house while the grown-ups were not looking, and Mum's carrots and raisins disappeared from the kitchen cupboards. By nightfall, most roads and driveways were opened again, and everyone went to bed exhausted, knowing that winter was here to stay. The next day, garage owners were very busy trying to accommodate everyone's need for winter tires. Clothing stores sold out of winter boots, and a lot of people were told that the stock of shovels were on back order. Over the next few days, the townsfolk slowly adjusted to the snow because they realized that complaining was not going to change the weather. By the 7th of November, they had 4 more heavy snowfalls, so the ski slopes opened early. The outdoor skating rinks were made, and people of all ages were stepping onto the ice in their tight-fitting bladed boots. Kids in their brightly colored toques were enjoying snowball fights, toboggan rides, and their many cups of hot chocolate. The adults were not enjoying the flaky white stuff as much because they were kept busy shoveling. It seemed that as soon as they got one storm cleaned up, another one was on the way. By December the 1st, the Gaspé Coast already had 16 snowstorms marked on the calendar, and the white stuff just kept falling. The preparations for Christmas started early, and soon the houses all around the coast were lit up with the twinkle of brightly colored lights. The smell of shortbread cookies and donuts filled the kitchens as children wrote their letters to the North Pole. They asked Santa for new skis, snowboards, snowshoes, sleds, and of course extra shovels for the grown-ups. On the morning of December 23rd, everyone woke up to another heavy storm, and the weatherman advised people to stay home that day as the road conditions were getting worse. It was expected that by Christmas Day, the whole coast would be in blizzard conditions. Now, Gaspésians are usually very patient people who are used to dealing with all kinds of challenges, but this weather was becoming a real problem. Christmas was meant for family gatherings and last-minute shopping. How would they get anywhere in such a storm? If friends and family from away had not arrived by now, there would be a lot of people seeking a room at an inn along the way, and their families would have a blue Christmas at home without them. The children were really worried because they were afraid that Santa would not be able to get through the snowstorm, no matter how bright Rudolph's nose shone. The snow kept coming down, and the high winds blew across the coast. No one went anywhere on that Christmas Eve. So mums cooked a little more food, and dads shoveled and brought in extra wood for the wood stoves. And the kids ate too many cookies before going to bed. On the morning of the 25th, the children rushed to their living rooms to see if Santa Claus had made it through the blizzard. Much to their delight, he had left them many beautifully wrapped presents under the tree. Christmas was different that year. Most families spent the morning cozied up around their wood-burning stoves, watching the children unwrap their gifts, while the blizzard filled their driveways once again. The electricity went out shortly before noon, and everyone made frantic calls to Hydro-Quebec to report the outage. They were told that they should not expect to have any electricity before the next morning because the town's main electrical transformer had been knocked down from the heavy weight of the snow. Christmas was ruined because the turkeys would not be cooked, the stuffing not stuffed, and there would be no mashed potatoes with gravy that day. Some fathers tried to reassure their frantic wives that they could cook a meal on the barbecue. So hot dogs and hamburgers were served by candlelight around the table that evening. Other families had no choice but to eat peanut butter sandwiches and cold cereal. There wasn't much holiday cheer on that Christmas evening, as folks tried to keep warm by snuggling up beside one another with heavy blankets in the darkness. It was definitely a Christmas that they would all remember.